Hello and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. My name is Phil Carlson, and on behalf of KCSA Strategic Communications, as well as our co-host OTC Markets Group, we're very pleased you have joined us for a fireside chat with Ispire Technology, an innovator in vaping technology and precision dosing. Their session will be moderated by Scott Fortune, Managing Director and Senior Research Analyst at Roth MKM. Please note you can submit questions for the presenter in the box to the left of the slides. You can also view the company's availability for one-on-one meetings through the scheduled meetings tab found on the conference platform. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome Michael Wang, co-CEO of Ispire Technology, which trades on the NASDAQ under the symbol ISPR. Welcome, Michael and Scott.
Thank you, Phil, and welcome everyone. I'm the Managing Director, Senior Research Analyst at Roth Capital Partners, covering the health and wellness cannabis industry. I will be moderating today's discussion with the co-CEO of Ispire Technology, a global leader in R&D, design, commercialization, manufacturing, sales and marketing, and distribution for branded and ODM of vaporizer device technology solutions. Ispire is also one of the few publicly listed pure-play vape device providers listed on the NASDAQ, selling into two robust, growing large markets, the tobacco e-cig and cannabis vape markets. With that intro, let's get into our chat with co-CEO Michael Wang and discuss the Ispire business and opportunity as a leader in the vape industry. Before we get into the recent news and near-term focus, Michael, for new investors, can you provide a kind of business overview, the strategy, and the opportunity for Ispire here?
Thank you, Phil, and thank you, Scott. Just at high level, Scott summed up really well, actually better than I could. We are a leading technology innovator, and we have been in this space since the beginning of the e-cigarette evolution. We came to the industry with the first commercially available e-cig brand called Aspire, A-S-P-I-R-E, 15 years ago, and we have never stopped innovating. And right now, we are a global player in nature. Even though we are headquartered in the US, we have our home base in Los Angeles, California, but our footprint is worldwide. With our e-cig business, we are very strong in Europe currently, pending our soon PMTA applications that will submit to the FDA for the US market. On the cannabis side, that's where our main growth engine, I guess, has been for the last 3 years. It's been heavily focused on the US market. As you can see from this slide, on the left side, it's a typical list of products we sell on the e-cig side, both under our own name, brand name, and as well as Scott said, on ODM basis for other brands. We can get into a little more of that later on. On the right-hand side, the image, just to be clear, the image there with Ispire logo on the device, that's for illustration purpose only. On the cannabis side, we are non-plant touching. So that we really are a technology focused product developer for the cannabis vaping brands. So all the logos on the product actually will have the cannabis brands logo and names on. And on the other hand, because we don't touch plant, we can essentially conduct transactions across the whole United States, regardless status of the legalization within each state. In some cases, where cannabis is not legal, there is a limited Delta-8 or hemp-derived business we are also exploring, but we are heavily concentrated on the legal cannabis business. As a publicly traded company, of course, we don't ever conduct transactions with non-licensed players. So that's something we are very cautious about and very strategic about. Of course, with federal legalization on the horizon, that can change the game for us. But by and large, or if you look at our revenue by vertical, nicotine versus cannabis, so far, of course, because of our long history in nicotine side, revenue from nicotine side still dominate our revenue, but our cannabis revenue has been growing rapidly. We launched the cannabis business 3 years ago, and we have quickly grown from nothing to $20 million a year to $40 million a year. And the current fiscal year, we are pacing really well. We are going to show a significant growth from last fiscal year again. Looking ahead, we are absolutely optimistic about the future growth, which we can cover as we move to the next slide.
Yeah, let's expand a little bit into that. Your differentiation, right? Ispire has a differentiation. It's been a very extremely competitive market in which most vape hardware is sourced from low-cost China manufacturing. Ispire has really focused on innovating vape technology over the last decade, as you mentioned, with its dual coil and the airflow technology, and update us on designing products for consumer use with different heat for various oils and the vapor transition from original pens to disposable and the pod systems now. And just follow up on that with an update on your newest technologies like Ispire 1 and the pipeline going forward. Just kind of your differentiation amongst the vape devices out there in the world.
Yeah, Scott, since the creation of the original company 15 years ago, innovation has always been the number one value for the company. And coming to the cannabis industry was really, with no exception from that angle. We really came to the cannabis industry 3 years ago with a breakthrough technology called dual core that would offer much, much, much lower heating temperature for the vaping devices. On the surface, it sounds like an easy thing to do. But for everybody in this space, we all know to be able to deliver low heating temperature and yet still deliver large amount of vapor, that was actually really hard to accomplish. That's why for so many years, nobody really was able to get that sort of product to the market. So when we ventured into the cannabis space 3 years ago, we introduced the dual core technology, and that immediately opened the market for us. That was a timing when vast majority of the cannabis brands introduced the so-called live resin oil. Live resin versus old distillate oil would require very careful and very low temperature in order to deliver the flavor and, of course, the medicinal benefit to the consumers and the patients alike. So that absolutely changed the landscape for the industry. And then along the way, we launched a so-called induction heating technology that was also world's first for vaping devices. And as Scott indicated, last year, we launched the so-called Ispire 1 platform, which further not only changed and transformed how the devices function and are managed and manufactured, filled, and packaged. More importantly, it provides the operators and brands a process that can handle high volume production with absolutely much improved operating efficiency and reduced costs. So that innovation wasn't just a simple continued incremental improvement to the device. We thought very deeply about what we could do to help the industry remove some of the key pinpoints. So with each innovation, we always had the industry's pinpoints in mind. It's not about just reducing the price of a product by a cent or two. it's really to move the industry forward. Scott, spot on. Those are core to our strategy. By keep innovating, keep leading the pack in technology and solutions.
That was a great update because as brands and operators look to really build brands, if in the U.S. they need that high quality, and like your Ispire opportunity to really brand that. From a high level, let's really quickly discuss your two markets and your strategy you're selling into. First, discuss the global tobacco e-cig vape market, your go-to-market strategy with Ispire brand. You mentioned third-party partnerships and expanding globally. And then also dig into the company positioning with the regulatory environment that's changing here pretty quickly in the EU with the banning of disposable vapes in France, UK, and Belgium, and Ispire's vape device portfolio. You have rechargeable pods and pod systems kind of going into those markets to capture that market opportunity. And then obviously you just recently announced, congratulations, securing a large ODM relationship with a leading global e-cig brand that is expected to bring almost $100 million in annual revenue. Just kind of step us through the global tobacco positioning for you guys.
Yeah, Scott, on the nicotine side, our legacy product, the Ispire branded product, will continue to be embraced worldwide, partially because it's very environmentally friendly, because it's a refillable, reusable device. For people who are conscientious about the e-waste situation worldwide, it's a great solution. And that's why in most of the countries in Europe, that line of product is selling really well. And as you indicated, the UK government, the French government, the Belgian, and the EU as a whole, all are considering banning disposable devices altogether. And this movement or this momentum cannot be stopped. If anything, it will only accelerate. So from that point of view, it positions Ispire really well because we are open system in nature. And as you said, in the last year, we also created a brand new line of product called refillable pods as well. So it combines the advantage of open systems and the portability of pods. It also prevents e-waste like disposable would impose on the society. So that is taking off now, and that is well positioned as regulators in Europe start to implement the ban across the continent. So that's one key development, Scott. On the other hand, as you mentioned, we have created or we have started the creation of many partnerships on a global basis. Of course, in the last 6 months, the most noticeable partnership we embarked on was with a major music star from Nigeria, Burna Boy. And he has a consumer brand called Breakfast. And we created a partnership with Burna Boy. And we are developing, manufacturing, and distributing Breakfast branded e-cig products worldwide, starting with South Africa, and then Nigeria, and then the whole North Africa, the Middle East, and then all the way to Europe. All will take place within the next 8 to 12 month period. We soft launched in South Africa. It was so well received. It's really amazing. We signed a deal with one of the largest chain store in South Africa called Pick n Pay. And we are in over 750 stores there. Plus, we are also exploring opportunities for working with Pick n Pay and expand the penetration and coverage into stores outside of their own network. So by all indication, from the soft launch, the market is embracing the product line really well. We are expecting on average at minimum 1 million units a month to ship to South Africa alone. And that's really a good proving ground for us. And we are not only excited about the Burna Boy relationship here, globally, we are working on similar partnerships with regional stars, including Latin region, Asian countries as well. So we will take that partnership model and expand it globally rather quickly. And as you touched on, Scott, ODM will continue to be part of our focus. Even though it won't be a major revenue driver overnight, it's a strategic part of our plan. As we will talk about the age gating technology later on, that was another reason or springboard for us to get into many more OEM, ODM relationships. So the one we just announced is just the first one and one of the many to come.
Congratulations on that. You mentioned a lot on the U.S. cannabis side. Let's just real quickly run through that. Obviously, the vape category represents roughly 27% of the overall U.S. cannabis sales, only behind flower. You think that will continue to grow? Just kind of update us on the market adoption. You're seeing more operators, bigger brands in the U.S. kind of adopt your technology, and you're just starting to build that differentiated brand, and just kind of the trends towards increased vaping of the overall percentage on the U.S. side. And we're still not talking about, this is ahead of rescheduling and expanding potentially globally. We got Germany coming on board, kind of moving in Canada. There's some new markets that can open up for you. So just real quick, and then we'll get into some of the great initiatives that you've put in place here.
Yes, in the U.S. cannabis market, we all know vaping is the fastest growing segment of the whole industry. Just to reiterate your point, 6-7 years ago, vaping accounted for less than 5% of total retail sales. And last year, as you stated, it's approaching 30%. By all indication, in a couple more years, it would surpass flower as number one sector of that industry. There is a reason for it. There are many reasons. First and foremost, it's easy to carry, easy to use. And especially given how the oils are formulated nowadays, you can have almost no odor from the oil, and some could have a little bit, a very subtle level of odor. And for really OGs, there are oils where it essentially replicates the ingredients that you find in the flower. So that's really one key reason, ease of use. And this is important, especially for young consumers and female consumers. They don't want to walk around carrying a flower or joints. They don't want to smell like a walking billboard for cannabis either. And yet they want to use cannabis. So this really provides a great way for doing it. And not to mention, a lot of people have serious concerns about inhaling combustible material or gas. We all know combustible anything would carry a great deal of carcinogens into your body. So a lot of people view that as a concern. So vaping is a natural, best alternative. I think this trend will continue, Scott, especially for a lot of newer markets like New York. Vaping is taking off even faster than a lot of the early states.
That's what got. Thanks for the update there. Now let's discuss the recent initiatives. We switched over on a new slide that shows kind of some of the recent initiatives you're moving forward, the announcements from your strategic partnerships. You hit that, but let's talk more about the joint venture you have. I think that's a really important part with the technology there, and then we can provide an update on you now internally. Ispire Malaysia, you're manufacturing your own internal product, going more vertically integrated will help with the margin profile, but just kind of step through the most recent initiatives. And then lastly, you can end up on the US e-cig and the PMTA process going forward with this new joint venture potentially.
Okay, great. We are throughout our whole company. We are very excited about this venture we just got into with two partners. One is Verify, the other one is Camular. Verify is one of the world's leading blockchain-based authentication technology companies. It has significant lead over the other players in the space. And we worked with them in the last year, just over a year, using their authentication technology for our vaping customers. As we all know, when a brand becomes very successful, you will always find knockoffs or copycats or counterfeit for your brands everywhere. So a lot of successful brands have been looking for ways to tell the consumers whether they are buying authentic products or not. So Verify technology provided that solution. So we have been offering that authentication method in our devices. So consumers, when you purchase such product, you just put the product near your smartphone through NFC. The phone will play a message from the brand telling you this is authentic, because it cannot be copied or hacked. It's serving the best purpose here, because we all know whether it's a QR code or RFID or whatever other method could easily be hacked and altered. So that's why we really like the Verify technology. We decided to team up with them a few months back to create a joint venture where we each leverage our own strength to create a so-called point of use age verification technology for all future vaping devices. This could be used for cannabis vaping devices, or it could be used on e-cigarette devices. The whole point is through this technology and through the age verification process, we can help to prevent minors from using devices. As we all know, e-cig is a real great alternative to combustible cigarette, but unfortunately, it got a bad name, partially because Juul's behavior of marketing to minors. So it really hurt the reputation of the industry. But it also pushed us forward to find solutions to prevent the minors from using such device. And we just came up with this technology. And the other partner in this joint venture is a company called Camular. Camular is a leading consulting and legislative consulting advisory company. They worked with large clients in dealing with the FDA, so they are really effective in working with and dealing with the FDA. So combining their expertise with our technology, we think not only can we create technology that we, Ispire, could use for ourselves, we could also license such technology to many, many brands who want to incorporate such technology to protect minors. We think this technology will be well received by brands as well as FDA. Really excited about that, Scott. Quickly going over to the Malaysia side, we are excited about Malaysia as well. We put a Malaysian manufacturing operation in place mainly to improve our gross margin. And that's serving us really well. We started production in Malaysia in February. For this first 12 months, we will focus the production on cannabis vaping hardware mainly. As we make progress on the PMTA side and as we introduce age verification technology to European regulators, we will likely produce such devices out for our Malaysian operation as well. So a lot of exciting plans ahead, and I hope over the course of the quarters and years to update everybody on the contribution from Malaysia. And I slightly touched on the PMTA side. Scott, we plan on using the age verification technology that we develop with Verify in our devices. As we submit our PMTA application in the coming month, we'll have that solution in there. And we'll demonstrate to the FDA how this could help prevent minors from using this device. And we are hoping, as a result of being able to prevent the minors from using the device, we'll be able to offer many, many different flavors of e-juice used in the e-cigarette. As we all know, adult consumers want different flavors. However, the FDA is very concerned about minors' access to the products. So far, they have been limiting it to tobacco flavor only. But with age verification, I think we'll be able to offer more flavors.
That's big news. That's a huge opportunity to move because you have no revenues or very limited revenues on the nicotine side in the U.S. and move forward. We have a good question from the audience as we wrap up here. They wanted to know, can you discuss your IP portfolio and global protections from that standpoint real quick?
Yes, great question there. In the last 15 years, we have built a strong IP portfolio. If we measure the value and the power of our IP portfolio, I will just share a couple of key data points. In this industry, nobody has more patents on core technologies. The key is core technologies. Those are the fundamental innovation. It's not a simple industrial design or tweaking the device a little bit. Core technologies, we accumulated over 200 patents on core technologies. And all the core technologies and all those patents are part of our IP portfolio as a public company. And we continued to file patents in the US, in the EU, and in China for protection. And part of our plan is by us headquartered in the US, being an American company, we will fully leverage the legal system in the US to protect our IP portfolio, especially on the cannabis side and on nicotine side too. US represents the largest market in the world, period. So by us having the protection here, by us having the ability to sue anybody who would infringe our IP in the US court, not only will we send a message loud and clear to the infringing parties, but we will also send a message to the target customers so that they know who truly owns IP versus who is just copying. We are going to be very vigilant about our own protection here, leveraging on the legal system in the US. Scott.
Well, it's a great update. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, Michael of Ispire Technology, trading on the NASDAQ under ticker ISPR, and KCSA for hosting this virtual conference. That's